Okay, so we are talking about what matter is made of. So matter can be broken down into a pure substance or a mixture. All matter in the universe is made up of more than 100 different substances, which we call elements. We can break down pure substances even more by classifying them as either elements or compounds. So what is an element? An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into other substances by physical or chemical means. It's going to be the simplest substance. Each element is identified by its specific physical or chemical properties. Elements are represented by either one or two letter symbols. C is the symbol for carbon, which is right here. And Ca is the symbol for calcium, which is right here. Test question. Which of the following materials is composed of only one kind of atom? These are the kinds of questions that you're going to be asked not only by me, but on your SOL as well. Is it water, helium, air, or sugar? If you answered B, helium, you are correct. If you did not, please change your answer. The particle theory of matter states that all matter is made up of atoms. Atoms are the basic particle of all elements. All atoms have a positively charged center, which is your nucleus, containing smaller particles. A small cloud of negatively charged particles surrounds the nucleus. This right here, if you were to see this moving around, these would represent a gas. These would be moving and they would be kind of gliding around each other, and this would represent a liquid. And these are quite uniform and they vibrate in place and they represent a solid. Atoms of most elements combine with other atoms. This forms a chemical bond. A chemical bond is a force of attraction between two atoms. You can combine to form larger particles called molecules when you have a chemical bond. A group of two or more atoms is held together by a chemical bond. A substance made of two or more elements that are chemically combined in a set ratio are called compounds. Compounds are represented by chemical formulas. They tell you the elements in the compound and the ratio of those atoms. Okay, here's another test question. A compound is a molecule made up of atoms from at least two elements. Which of the following gases is a compound? Is it A, ozone, O3, B, oxygen, O2, C, methane, CH4, or D, nitrogen, N2? If you answered C, methane, you are correct because you have at least two elements. You have C and you have H. And C is carbon and H is hydrogen. If there is no number after an element's symbol, the number of the atoms present is 1. I want you to identify the number of atoms present in each molecule. Let's start with the first one, NO, which is nitrogen oxide. Looking at the picture, what do you see? How many N's do you see present? If you answered 1, you are correct. How many O's do you see present? If you answered 1, you are correct. Looking at water, H2O. Count how many H's you see. 1, 2. There are 2 H's present, and there is only 1 oxygen. For nitrogen dioxide, NO2, there is 1 nitrogen, and there are 2 oxygens. And then for carbon dioxide, there is 1 carbon and 2 oxygens. Test question. Which of the following molecules does not contain 3 atoms? You have A, O3, B, N2, C, H2O, or D, CO2. So let's go ahead and let's count the atoms for each. For O3, we have 3 atoms of oxygen. N2, there are 2 atoms of nitrogen. H2O, we have 2 hydrogen plus 1 oxygen equals 3. And for CO2, we have 1 carbon plus 2 oxygen, which equals 3. So the correct answer is B. When elements chemically combine, they form compounds with different properties from those of elements. If you look, these two are completely different elements, and when they combine, they form something that is totally different from their original state. Compounds versus mixtures. Elements and compounds are substances, but most materials are mixtures. 2 or more substances not chemically bonded, but together in the same place, are mixtures. The substances in the mixtures each keep their own properties. Now, you have to keep this right here. Very, very important. Star it on your paper. Mixtures do not have chemical formulas. That's one of the easiest ways for you to determine if something is a mixture or if it's a compound. If it has a chemical formula, it is automatically a mixture. If it does not have a chemical formula, then it's not a mixture. If it doesn't have a chemical formula, then it's a mixture. If it does have a chemical formula, then it's a compound. You need to go back to the front of your paper up at the top, and now we're going to discuss mixtures. There are 2 kinds of mixtures. You can have a homogeneous or homogeneous, or you can have a heterogeneous. heterogeneous. Okay. A heterogeneous mixture, you can see the different substances and you can easily separate them out. Look at this salad. I could ask you to pull off all of the tomatoes, and you could do that because it is a heterogeneous mixture. A homogeneous mixture, on the other hand, is so evenly mixed you can't see the different parts. It's difficult to separate the original parts. For example, air. We know that air is made of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, argon, and many, many other trace elements and trace gases, but we can't separate them out so that when you take a deep breath, like SpongeBob is doing here, you can't see just the carbon dioxide or just the oxygen. It's impossible. Test question. Which of these best shows particles in a mixture? Okay, so we have So you have to remember which of these particles are not chemically combined, but they're 2 different things. If you look at picture A, they're all the same particle. If you look at picture B, you have 2 different particles. If you look at picture C, you have one element that is bigger and one that is smaller, and they are chemically combined together. And then if you look at D, you have all one of the same. So the correct answer is B. B is your mixture. We can separate mixtures by a few different ways. You use the substance's properties to separate them. Some methods include distillation, evaporation, filtration, and then even magnetic attraction.